Well, hello, everybody.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
So what an exciting time we've got ahead of us for the next hour. We're going to be talking all about cheese, and we have the expert extraordinaire in Miss Penny Lawson. Hello and welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Penny's Cheese Shop, and Penny's just going to share some of her knowledge and her love of cheese with us. And we have Gary Stokes, good friend and connoisseur of all things fine.
Thanks, Vanessa. Thank you. Really glad to be on here today. It's wonderful.
And we have Chef Adam Moore, who is just the knowledge of everything. So I thought we had a really nice mix of guests that are going to take us on this exploration today. And Gary, you and I have been discussing doing a cheese introduction for quite a while now, and with COVID, it just hasn't been something we've been able to make happen.
That's right. A concept a little while ago, Vanessa wanted to run a cheese workshop, not so much on the production of cheeses. There's a lot of little short courses available on making fresh cheeses and things that are around, which are very interesting. But I wanted to sort of focus more on the different varieties of cheeses and showcase some of the fantastic products that are available in Australia and some of the Australian cheese producers and manufacturers that are doing it, both boutique and in the larger sector as well. So I wanted to sort of put something together about that, and that was where the discussion started.
And aren't we glad it did? And you've been part of that discussion as well, where we wanted to create a workshop for chefs to be able to, well, Penny doesn't actually really know that yet, but we were going to have Penny come in and deliver the information to the chefs so that we could just have a bit of fun with cheese.
Yes, and Penny, I've met Penny through cheese judging and different things that we do in the world, and if you go to her little shop in Darlinghurst, is it Darlinghurst? What borderline? Potts Point, yeah, sorry, the nicer area. Not only do you do the great cheese and great accompaniments to cheese, but the best cheese toasties that I've ever eaten.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't actually know that you did cheese toasties.
Oh, yeah, they are quite the thing.
Now I need to find an excuse to go to Potts Point. Thanks for that.
It's only a little shop, but I take up the whole shop when I stand in there. But the cheese toasties is the biggest weight that you want, you know. Yeah, and they're different all the time, aren't they, Penny?
Yeah, we change the cheese blend week to week, and we change the filling. So sometimes we have ham or salami, and other times it's jalapeno or onion. The main thing is that the bread remains constant and the quantity of cheese never changes, just the blend. So heavier in winter and a bit lighter in summer. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, Gary, because this was your idea in the very beginning, I'm not going to steal your thunder. I'm going to step back and I'm going to hand it over to you to start the workshop.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, Vanessa. And I don't know about stealing my thunder. I think it's something we all need to share and have a love of the cheese and what it brings to the menu. For a lot of restaurants, I remember starting off my career and cheese plates were an item on the menu, and it was the regulation slice of Brie, the regulation slice of Blue, and sometimes you got an Edam or a Swiss cheese. And that was what was on a cheese board. And you probably had a radish rose on there and maybe some Jatz biscuits, or the Cars water cracker featured on the cheese plate as well. So thankfully things have moved on a little bit from there, and through the 70s we had that wonderful introduction to the fondue sets and everything, and there was a few restaurants around that were specialising in fondues, which which I love and have 100 or 200 fondue sets myself. They're great. But I think where I was coming from, sort of putting it into the 2020 vision, is cheese can showcase on a menu really, really well. And there was a few restaurants around a while ago that had particular cheeses and showcased their cheese as part of their menu. I think it's, I think consumer awareness, and also for chefs to be aware of how to use cheese more effectively on their menu. And I noticed also through 2019 and 2018, when I was doing events and talking to hotels and catering facilities, gradually cheese platters became more common on a menu because people were asking for them as an alternative of having a sweet course to finish off with. And it was always something that was, I think, was great to have at the end after the meal as well. So I think that's where I was coming from, was for the consumers to have a little bit more knowledge about cheese and maybe ask the questions, but also for our industry, the hospitality industry, to be able to utilise this wonderful product that's on shelves and so readily available and growing in Australia. I think it's fantastic that we've got that happening. So that's where I was coming from with this. I wanted to set up, initially the session was going to be up in Jamie's kitchen, up in Darlinghurst, and have Penny come in and Adam and talk about cheese production and have Penny go through some cheese tastings with us. And then it kept getting putting off and COVID restriction. Anyway, it just sort of bubbled up to let's do something online. And thanks very much for Vanessa and for orchestrating all this. It's great. So that's good. So I suppose I think I might ask Adam a little bit. Your knowledge of cheese is endless, and you have a lot of interesting facts and figures and interesting stories about cheese. So Adam, give us your thoughts on cheese.
Yeah, so I don't know as much as Penny, but Penny's like the guru of cheese, but I sure do know about cheese. Cheese is one of the oldest art forms or artisanal products still on the market, which is great. It was one of the first products to be preserved. Normally, you know, in Alps, they get the milk production of the cow and they put the cheese away. And cheese has a long history across different eras, different areas. People are doing things like the beautiful raw milk cheeses in Europe versus, you know, cheese styles. And cheese is different all around the world because the milk changes with what the cow eats. So you eat cheese in New Zealand, it's going to taste very different to Australia because what the cow is eating. And the thing I love with cheese, not only are they great for cheese boards, and like you said, Gary, putting them on your menu is, you know, a great way of, you know, producing these artisanal products on your menu, but also complementing your menu. And I've seen people introduce a cheese course, which is a very traditional course on a menu where people would do that. And some restaurants like in Sydney that, you know, Vanessa and I and Gary, you've been to, Restaurant Nell, he has a cheese course in between courses to give people a break. It's also often a chance to cleanse the palate after something really heavy sometimes. So I've seen things like Parmesan sorbet, for example, to cleanse the palate. You get that nice creaminess of the cheese. You get the aged notes coming through, but in a sorbet format, it's pretty phenomenal. And outside of cheese, cheese also pairs so beautifully with so many items. For example, if you put some blue cheese, which we're going to try some today, on a burger, you get really nice umami notes coming out of that burger. And so, you know, introducing cheese in new ways, not just putting it on shaved on pasta, but different ways of incorporating into your menu, not only just in entree, main, dessert, but also how do you introduce cheese course. So let's get into cheese because I'm getting excited, Gary. Oh, there's cheese here.
There's cheeses. And look, one thing I noticed on cheese, many years ago working in fine dining at different establishments, cheese was always introduced as a course after dessert, and it was something, and traditionally that's when it was served, but in a structured menu. But cheese always encourages conversation, I feel. And so what better way to start our conversation about cheese was to have Penny start introducing us to some cheese, and let's have some really good conversations around it. So take it away, Penny. Thank you.
So hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us here today. Pretty exciting times. I have selected 5 cheeses that should be locally available to you wherever you are in Australia. And it's just to go through the different styles and makes. And I think Adam and Gary are going to jump in with serving suggestions as we go through. I should jump in and say that cheese is hugely seasonal. So it's not just about cows, Adam, but it's also goats and sheep.
Yes,
and
correct. Sorry.
It's we're very much in a tradition in Australia, particularly of having predominantly cow's milk cheeses, but we do have one absolute classic here for you today. And so the 5 cheeses, I thought we'd start with 2 fresh styles that are quite different, but of equal age, and then we'll have a surface ripened. There'll be a cheddar and a blue cheese. And so I thought the way that we'd start off today was with, I've selected Vannella Bocconcini, which is made here in Sydney and Marrickville. Everyone should have easy access in Australia these days. I'm pretty sure that going back 40 years, maybe less so, but a bocconcini is a smaller mozzarella. It means to the mouth or mouth-sized. And this one's made with cow's milk, and it's a pasta filata cheese. So what that means is it's a stretched curd cheese. And in production, they've set the milk. So that's the first stage of cheese making, is to set the milk with rennet, having inoculated starter culture. And then when the milk is set, then they separate the curds from the whey. And then in the case of bocconcini, the curds are added into hot water and folded in on itself and stretched and stretched. And the thing that I find interesting about bocconcini and mozzarella, one, always eat it at room temperature. So wait for it to come up. I took these cheeses out half an hour before we started today. It makes a world of difference even with fresh cheeses. I love the texture of it. You get these little angel's wings. So I'm not sure whether, or the light's terrible. Anyway, if you rip that apart with your fingers, you'll see little angel's wings, and that shows that it's actually stretched in on itself. And the flavours of bocconcinis and mozzarella should be milky and should be mild and lightly salty, and there should be very little aroma, slightly sour, but nothing major. So that's a fermented milk product, obviously, so everything's going to have a little sourness to it, but just beautiful and light. Shouldn't linger on the palate. There shouldn't be anything, funky with a soft pasta filata cheese like a bocconcini such as this. I think if we're looking at applications for bocconcini, salads are really the go-to, but Adam probably has some.
Yeah,
there.
Salads are always good. Traditionally pizza, but bocconcini is fantastic with charcuterie.
Yeah.
And I've got some beautiful copper at the moment, which is Miguel Maestre's copper. Now, interesting thing is, it's a great cheese to bake with. So you can get some of your charcuterie and then wrap your bocconcini in it and pan fry it, and it just gets this beautiful sensation. It's unbelievable. This creamy tart, and then you got the salty, and it's correct. Yeah.
So that's part of that cheese making process, is change the proteins so they become stretchy. So it's that pull when you're eating the pizza and you take it away from you, and you've got the comedy moment of it's excellent in toasted cheese sandwiches for that reason as well. I think.
And because of that sourness too, it works really well with salty. The interesting thing is you can also use it in unusually in like soups as well, because it holds its shape until you eat it, and really quite interesting.
Oh, that'd be lovely to bite into a nice little pocket of bocconcini in a soup. Haven't tried that.
A traditional like a bean style soup, and you put the bocconcini in, and it holds its shape nicely because of the way it's been structured. Yeah. And then when you eat it, because it's warmed up, it's just unbelievable. It's like an explosion.
Yeah. I think it's important to note with all these, with the fresh curd cheeses like a bocconcini or a ricotta or a fresh chev, anything that's fresh and day old, you don't want to hold these in your fridge after you've opened them for any amount of time. These are to be eaten fresh and straight away and not held on to. So within 3 days of opening, they're there for everyday use. So in southern Italy, where the pasta filata cheeses, I guess, originated, they're for everyday use. People are going out buying them every day, eating them, and then, you know, eat and repeat. But don't hold on to them. It's not for aging, because they do go sour and they do age badly.
And it's a bit of an art form to make it too, isn't it, Penny?
Absolutely, there is. Papa Cheese from Vannella has been making cheese since he was 14, and they brought it over from Puglia first of all into Far North Queensland, and then now they're in Marrickville. But generations of knowledge and dedication going into these cheeses. It's a real skill, and you have to have hands that are okay with the heat, because you're constantly putting your hands into hot baths of water in order to stretch the cheeses. And
traditionally Nonna would teach normally the girls in the family and teach that tradition. So normally cheese making was very female dominated, especially
I think it still is, actually. It fits in with the schedules for the daily rhythms of life, and it fits in with, having families, but it's also an excellent career for women. It's always been dairy maids, haven't they?
Yep.
And the texture of the bocconcini is quite interesting if you're pairing that with food items. It's great that it's small and round and bite-sized, because that is great for canapes. I remember having a bocconcini served as a canapé on slices of grilled chorizo, and it just worked so well. And it was the texture of the two that worked amazing.
Yeah.
Also, little skewers with grape tomatoes and the bocconcini wrapped in some really nice basil. You've got those lovely flavors of the basil really complement the bocconcini really nicely. It's great.
I'm not sure whether any of you have tried this as well, but on the barbecue on a lemon leaf is a really good time. So you put the lemon leaf on the barbecue and then the bocconcini on top, and then you just
infuses it.
Yeah, and you just eat the bocconcini straight off, or the mozzarella straight off the leaf. Don't eat the leaf, but the oils from the leaves are imparting flavors. It's a very good time, something to look forward to maybe in summer. Yeah.
Do I need to wear a mask when I run across the road and steal the lemon leaves off my neighbour's tree?
I don't know. Maybe some money in the letterbox to say thank you. I used to do that down in Melbourne, Rosemary.
That's going to be on the cards in a minute, Benny. That's excellent. Good. Beautiful. I think that's great and perfect. So what would you move on to next, Penny?
Well, just going back to that one just quickly, in that style of cheese, I guess what you're looking at in mozzarella's, bocconcinis, then we've got burrata, which is mozzarella, which is filled with stracciatella. And stracciatella is the ripped up fresh mozzarellas that have been put into cream, which is a beautiful thing. And that's been stuffed inside the burrata. So these pasta filata cheeses are all in the same house. And then you get aged pasta filata cheeses like the provolone and the caciocavallo and all of those types of cheeses. So those ones are aged and more chewy in texture as they age. So that's all good. So moving on, another beautiful fresh cheese. This one's a goat's milk one. And I think we've all in Australia seen the Meredith Marinated jars. I think we probably all have one in our cupboard. Sorry, not cupboards, in our refrigerator right now. This is known as Australian Feta, weirdly, over in the States. This is very much a style that has been created over in Australia, and this comes from Meredith's Dairy down in the Western District in Victoria. There's many varieties of marinated cheese on the market in Australia, and every supermarket and corner store will pretty much have one. I just think that the Meredith is the go-to. I say accept no substitutes, but there are some very good other marinated cheeses on the market. And this is the freshest of cheese. So with the making of this, it's just the milk has been set and then left to drain on the cheese make table overnight. And then that is at a texture then that is ready for packaging. So then it is cubed. They hand put it into the jars, and the oil is a combination of olive oil and canola, and that's to stop it going cloudy in your fridge. And then they've got the beautiful garlic and peppercorns and bay, is it? I'm just going to have a little piece because it's so good. Can I eat it straight with a knife? Yeah.
You can straight.
Yeah.
I'll eat it on a cracker.
That's professional.
So you just said that it's in olive oil and canola oil. I didn't realize that.
It's a combination.
And it's
yeah.
stop the cheese from going cloudy.
No, it's to stop the oil from going cloudy. Because if you just put 100% olive oil in the fridge, you'll all know that.
It'll go cloudy.
So yeah, this is, I mean, the flavors are beautiful. So it's fresh, it's lactic, it's light, it's lemony, it's salty, and it's just really can make you taste like stuff all the way through. It's beautiful in salads. Again, similar applications, I guess, to the bocconcini, although it won't stretch because it's not a pasta filata cheese. It's a fresh cheese, so it will just soften if you warm it. It'd be beautiful with some beetroots in a salad, I think.
Yeah.
Really good, beautiful match, I think.
It likes earthy sweet notes, so it really beetroot, and then sweet notes. It could be anything from your quince paste right through to I do things like blueberry gin, or even honey on this would be amazing. So if you're using honey on your boards,
I think honey goes with pretty much any cheese. They're a beautiful fall for each other. That balances sweet, salty, that work so well.
Well, I have to interrupt because the go-to accompaniment now on any cheese board is Anna Jane Dalton's Conjure Up Foods lemon confiture. It is to die for. It is just the perfect accompaniment to any cheese board.
Particularly to that cheese, I think, because that lemony flavour of that confiture would go so beautifully with the brightness and the lemony tang of the goat's cheese. Wonderful. It's nice to play around with the different flavours and really create your own cheese boards. And I'm not sure whether Vanessa's put this out to people. We'd like to see some of your cheese boards.
I actually haven't. I was going to leave it up to you guys to be able to surprise everybody.
well, now we should tell them about it now.
Because
Penny.
you were saying you were going to give away a $50 voucher as well, Penny.
Yeah, sure am. I want to see, give me your best cheese boards, the combinations of flavours, shapes and presentation on the plate. I like to see the creativity that people have. I think it's really, it's what else are we doing when we're locked down, but spending a lot of time thinking about our next meal and how it's going to look, and it might just give you some mindfulness as you put together a cheese board, and we'd love to see what you come up with.
Yeah, and where did everyone post the photos, Vanessa?
So they can just post it onto the comments of this session on Facebook, on Food Logic Facebook, and they just take a photo, post it up on the comments, and I believe you guys are going to judge the best cheese board. And look, it's not just the $50 voucher. It's to be able to support just some connections, to be able to support Penny and make you more aware of her business. But as another offering as well, we're also going to be giving away some of Anna Jane Dalton's confiture lemon jam as well. So there's
and those that are lucky to win it could put some lemon jam on, some puff pastry with the goat's cheese on top and bake it in the oven. Unbelievable.
Really good.
And the time I used this Meredith cheese on anything was on some canapes for a function that I was doing. They wanted something different. So I made little tartlets, not very deep, but small tartlets, and half filled them with the cheese and smoothed it off. And the other half I topped with an olive tapenade. So it looked like a neenish tart, but savoury. It was fantastic.
Wow.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
Visually, it looks so good, that delineation between the whiteness of the goat's cheese and then the colour of the olive tapenade. Beautiful.
It was good. It was good. And also with the cheese boards people are putting in, I'd be really interested to see what your combinations of, what are your go-to things to put with cheese? I thought I'd heard of most things, but a friend of mine said a couple of years ago, they love putting slices of fruit cake and cheddar cheese together. And I thought, really? And I tried it and it's fantastic. And it's something that I do at Christmas time now. So if you've got any weird and wacky things, don't be frightened to put them up, because we're interested in it and I'll give anything a go.
Gary, it's funny you say that. I actually put dark chocolate on my cheese boards, as well as normally a honeycomb. And the dark chocolate complements a lot of cheeses. It's really amazing pairing.
Yeah.
Particularly with blue. Really good.
Yeah. More the aged cheese.
So is that where we're moving into now? Is the blue?
I guess I should have said before, whenever we're doing a pairing or a tasting or anything, we work from the mildest flavours through to the strongest. So the blue we always keep until the end. I know that everyone it's their favourite because it's definitely the biggest flavour. But if we can hold off, mind you, you're in the comfort of your own home, you can do it whichever way you like. For the purpose of this today, we're going to move on to the surface ripened, the Camembert style. The light in here is terrible for picking that up, but maybe Gary can hold up his or Adam. Surface ripened cheeses encompass beautiful. Thanks, Gary. That's good.
I lost mine in the shopping cart. Somewhere in there or the car.
It's being aged in the car. Yeah.
It's been aged in the car.
So I guess the important things about surface ripened cheeses encompass anything from a ripened goat's cheese. So thinking of things like the Holy Goat, La Luna or Skylar. It can be a triple cream, a Camembert or a Brie in the white moulds, and then in the washed rinds, anything from King River Gold and Mountain Man up to the really stinky ones that come out of Broody Island. For the purposes of today, I just thought anyone can probably get their hands on a Camembert or a Brie at a supermarket. So the reason why I call them surface ripens, and then in this category I call this a bloomy cheese, is that in making and then hooping the curds, the cheeses are brined, and then initially the vat has been inoculated with Penicillium candidum or white mold. And as the cheeses age, so over the first 2 to 3 weeks, those white mold spores begin to activate and come alive. And then what they'll do is they'll grow into the paste of the cheese. So I like to think of mold spores growing in to the centre of the cheese. So sometimes you'll have an underripe Brie or Camembert, and it will be a little bit chalky on the inside, but softer towards the rind. And if it's fully ripened, then it'll be soft the whole way through. So the chalky bits are going to be slightly acidic, because the mold spores are changing the pH of the curd of the cheese, and they're working on the protein, so a thing called proteolysis. So the one that I've got has actually got a little bit of both. Some people like to eat their Bries and Camemberts younger, and some people prefer to have them when they're right on the other edge of the spectrum. It's really personal choice. This is something that if you have a cheesemonger, you can start talking to them about how you like softer or milder ones, or richer and more buttery in the triple cream. Slightly kind of button mushroomy aromas to this one, and nice silky paste towards the rind. Australian Bries and Camemberts tend to be a lot milder than their European counterparts, partly because of that's the style that the Australian consumer likes, but also partly to do with starter cultures that are available to our cheesemakers here in Australia. So
good. And Penny, what's the washed rind? We often see washed rind. What is that?
So instead of having the milk inoculated with the white mold spores, it will be a process of adding Brevibacteria linens, or B linens for short. And then the process of, when it's aging, they're washing the actual cheese with a salt brine. Sometimes it can be alcohols, and sometimes it can be just a straight salt. And what's that is doing is knocking back any molds on the outside of the cheese and creating quite a moist environment that the bacteria linens like to survive in. And in smearing the cheeses, you get lovely orange colour to the outside of the cheese. It's doing a similar thing to the interior of the paste, so it's breaking down the proteins and changing the pH, but it's also adding what could be described as funky aroma, or something a little bit like a shoe or a dirty sock. It just depends on which level you are. But what that is doing, and what we always say with wash dryings, is the bark is always worse than the bite. And they're really fantastic style of cheese. If you find that the Bries and Camemberts that you've got access to at wherever you're buying your cheese from not that interesting, then maybe you could consider moving on to a wash drined. I think Tasmanian Heritage Red Square is pretty readily available, as is King River Gold from Millerwood Cheese Company. And those are both kind of good medium style wash dryings that go so well with things like mushrooms and bacon and capsicum and onions. Like, they're a really good cooking cheese.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They're the best baking cheese that they can do. You know, if you wanted to do a cob loaf, just put a couple of Bries in the cob loaf and bake it off with some bacon, honey, some nuts. Yeah, unbelievable. And it's the perfect cheese with champagne, funnily enough. It works really well with the bubbles, and because it's light and creamy. But also what you can do is use it on sandwiches. Instead of using cheddar cheese, slice some Brie or Camembert on your sandwiches, and it's just like a cream cheese, but it's only better. It's not from a jar.
I might actually add that some of our viewers are enjoying a glass of wine at the moment with their cheeses. It's 12
and so
o'clock.
they should.
It's 12 o'clock so somewhere. Oh, look, Gary is as well.
It's not wine.
It's hard water.
Can I just interrupt as well? Les King has mentioned that you can't put photos in the comments, but I think once we finish the session, that it's been published, you can put photos up. If you can't, just send it via messenger.
That's
exciting. People want to put photos in already.
I know, we have a great audience.
There we go. Go team. I can't wait to see the
Good.
And Brad Bennett also said sliced Granny Smith apples with honey and cheese, and any cheese.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to make a really interesting apple pie, just saying that on Brad's suggestion, Camembert and Brie baked in apple pie is unbelievable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very traditional, very American. You see a lot of editions of it, and what people sometimes do is also put the Camembert in the crust, so they bake it in the crust as well. So
wow,
I like to see little
one of the dishes that I've made for a dinner party was I cooked a beer damper, a large beer damper cob, sliced the top of it off, and then just cut Camembert in half, put it on the top of it, put a packet of raspberries on top of it, and put it in the oven and let it melt, and then just cut it into wedges and serve that as an entree. It was my version of cheese on toast.
One of the other interesting pairings that you can do, if you did want to do something truly Aussie, you can actually get a cob loaf, line it with Vegemite, avocado, then the Brie, and bake it. It is unbelievable.
Right.
Cob loaves are starting to make a bit of a comeback. I don't know whether it's because of COVID and people are looking at comfort food, but you see even some of these businesses that are doing these grazing platters are actually selling the cob loaf.
Yes. My Baker's Delight, if I ask for a cob loaf, I have to order it the day before because they sell out of them, and they've started to increase their production of cob loaves.
So interesting.
They're really good. Yeah.
Sorry, Penny, back to your cheeses.
Also, like, we're talking a lot about breads and cheeses, which I always like as a match, my preference to. I mean, today I've got nothing to eat my cheese on. I didn't really come prepared, so my cheese board is looking rather meagre. But having that fruit, like the apple slice and the honey, is excellent, and it's also a good gluten-free way of avoiding a gluten-free cracker, but having a beautiful new flavour dimension. But also in this whole melting cheese conversation, a wash-drined dish that I really like to prepare in winter kind of almost dreaming of if we could have gone to the snow, is potatoes with onions, and then you use a washed rind or a brie, and you melt it over the top, and it's like a one dish wonder. And I just think kind of
almost like a raclette, Penny, almost like a raclette.
Yeah, or like there's another dish called tartiflette. I think if you follow Instagram, I've done a recipe on it for broadsheet, and I had a few comments from French people telling me I had the wrong cheese, but here we are in Australia, and I'm using what's available in Australia. So I didn't know the original recipe, but as we all know, when we're chefs and cooking, we're always referencing an original recipe anyway.
And Penny, Camembert and Brie makes the most wonderful ice cream if people want to make that. Makes a beautiful ice cream. It's creamy. It's just unbelievable. And you compare it with things like honey, and then that can become a different cheese course altogether itself.
Yeah.
I've never even seen Camembert ice cream. That's amazing.
Nor have I. I've yet to see it. Maybe, Adam, you can whip us up a batch.
I can certainly do that. We'll definitely do a session on that.
Hey, Pen, it's his birthday tomorrow.
Oh, shh, don't tell anyone that.
So we're making him something? Is that what happens?
So he can make his own birthday cake using Camembert.
Yeah. I'll put candles in Camembert.
Going back to that goat's cheese before, not that you'd use this as the marinated version, but just a fresh chev makes an excellent creamy ice cream, like, you know, a frosting for a cake. I've done a chocolate cake before and used goat's cheese as the icing, and it's very nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And memorable.
And do you how do you treat that? Do you sweeten it up at all, or
with
treat
icing?
it with like cream cheese type of icing?
Exactly like cheese ice cream. So icing. So yeah, it's cream cheese and icing sugar together, and it's like beautiful.
Wow.
I think the best one is Boursin.
Boursin.
I said it wrong. There we go. Happy to say that.
Normally me that does all the muck-ups with the different pronunciations, not you.
I don't feel good correcting anyone, because obviously I've got such a beautiful French accent that I shouldn't be. But it's awesome. It's the cream cheese with the chives through it. Yep.
Yeah. You can get a plain one too.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't realise it was that fancy. I just thought it was cream cheese with chives.
It's not that fancy, but it's pretty delicious.
They've got to put a fancy name to it to make it sound good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Julie Ballard just said it is, and he hates everyone knowing his birthday. Happy birthday, chef. I'm like, I know he hates it. That's why I said it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Julie. Anyway.
And Brad and Anna Jane, they're all saying
I'm going red now. I'm getting all hot in here.
Okay, sorry, moving on. Are we up to the blue yet?
No.
Did this on Steve blue cheese.
We saved the best for last. No, but in all seriousness, the next one we're going to do is the cheddar. So everyone's got a block of cheddar surely in their fridge at any one time. Cheese on toast. Yep. Adams represent Bega, strong and bitey. Adam and I recently did the choice cheddar judging at Choice Magazine. And that was pretty fun. So going through, I think we tasted 26 cheddars in the one day.
Yeah, and that review is still online at the moment if people want to read it about different cheddars, which was...
So talking about the best cheddars that are available in supermarkets. So from soft cheeses, the surface ripened and the freshies, we're going through to something that has been aged. This one's probably aged like six something. And cheddaring is actually a place in the UK, in the West Country, but it's also one of the processes that has gone into making cheese. So to be cheddared is actually a verb, I guess. And once they've drained the whey from the vat, they're left with the cheddar curds, which they then stack and loaf on top of each other, and that is the process of cheddaring. And what that is trying to do is expel more moisture. It's also to try and drop the pH level of the curds, which will end up in a longer preserved cheese at the end of the day. I guess cheese making is is helping milk achieve immortality. It's like giving it many more days of age, and so you can make, in the times of summertime when the milk is abundant, you're making cheese for the leaner times when there's less out in the fields to eat. So that's where it all came from, and why we've been making it for such long. An excellent source of energy and protein. So cheddaring, I mean, it's Australia's #1 selling cheese, surely, the cheddar. And you get lovely savoury, fruity notes. I shouldn't talk while I'm tasting things.
You're amongst friends.
But I really do love cheddar. It's got a real spot in my heart. So
and it was interesting with the choice ones that we saw some different styles and different ways of doing it. And this cheese, again, it pairs really nicely sweet, but I like something a little bit more bite in it. So something like Maggie Beer's ginger fig lemon paste.
Yeah.
So it's got that sour bitterness and sweetness in there.
Yeah.
So when you look at those sorts of competitions and you're judging, how many did you say you were judging? How many did you say you judged?
26 or 28 on the day. Yeah. And
it's interesting when you do those competitions, how you can distinguish the good from the great, isn't it? And if you were looking for the perfect cheddar, what are the characteristics that you're going to be looking for?
So you want a good, clean dairy flavour. I want some acidity. So I guess that's what people equate to being a bitiness of a cheddar. I'm looking for texture. Texture is really like key for a cheddar. I don't want anything soft. I want something that actually, when I'm judging, I'm working the cheese paste to make sure it's got form and it holds itself and it doesn't mush too quickly. So it's got to have some structure to the curd. You're looking at salt balance. You're looking at whether there's the protein crystals or the calcium lactate deposits, which is a true sign of aging in a cheddar. So when you're at the supermarket and you're buying a cheddar and it's got like white crystals and then maybe some crunchy things that look like salt on the interior of the paste, that's not salt. You'll find that they're not salty to taste, but that's the calcium lactate, and that's a true sign of age. With cheddars, I guess the fashion has been stronger and fruitier flavours over the last 10 years or so. And with starter cultures, but then also adjuncts that you can add to the starter cultures, you're creating different flavours down the track. And you can kind of almost fake the flavour of an aged cheese, but you could never fake a texture of an aged cheese. The texture is key with cheeses such as like a Gouda or a cheddar or a Parmesan. And those protein deposits, which are calcium lactate in cheddars and then tyrosine in the Alpine cheeses, those are key of quality and age.
And if everyone goes and reads the choice session that we did do, there were some really bad ones and some really good ones.
I tell you what, I thought I was being punked on the day. We get it's in the blind tasting. We're all tasting different cheeses at any different time. And the first 2 cheeses that I got were excellent. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, oh my God, we're in for such a good day of judging. And then I think the worst for last was mine, wasn't it, Adam? You were watching.
Yeah.
I had a moment where the sample was rapidly expelled from my mouth. Was
and the interesting thing is with choice, we don't know. We're all 4 judges get different numbers, and our numbers are different to yours. So what I'm eating first might be, pretty average or pretty, and so it's quite varied to see that because we can get the true results. But you had the best ones first, and then the worst one last.
Literally, the worst one was last. I couldn't believe it.
I
think they set that up for you,
isn't it? Yeah. So, Penny, with the different cheddars, there's different aging years and months and whatever they have with that. And also they have things like the black wax cheddar or a red wax cheddar or a cloth cheddar or something like that. Does that really play a significant part in the outcome of the finished product?
It sure does. So when we're looking at a cloth aged cheddar, that's a cheese that's been matured under cloth and has been able to breathe during its maturation. So any of those cellar aromas and flavors will enter the cheese, and you'll have quite a different flavor to something that's been like a block cheddar, like what we're tasting today, has been matured under plastic. And then the wax doesn't really ever impart a flavor, but what it is doing is it's that anaerobic maturation, so without air. So you'll get different flavors coming through to one that is a cloth matured cheddar. So there's vast differences there. Vast differences with age as well, with flavors. But I guess initially the waxes was a good way of adding extra age to a cheese. So cloth cheeses will tend to lose moisture as they age. You're losing money then, aren't you, as a cheese producer, because you're losing the moisture. But also the texture might not hold up. It might become brittle and die. If you're waxing a cheese, it might give it a few more months of, or even up to years of age that you can keep on holding it on for. And then the block cheddars, like we see predominantly in the supermarket, are all under plastic. So anaerobic versus aerobic maturation.
And Gary, you mentioned something on this about cheddar before. You mentioned about fondue sets. This is one of the best cheeses to put in a fondue set. I can tell you now.
But you got to be careful because it's going to split in cooking.
Correct.
So make sure you got a good roux. Is that right, Adam?
That is correct. I was going to go there. They're very good, Penny. You're on fire today. Yeah.
I want to get this.
You only ruin the fondue once.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Gary's a master. We have to do a whole session on Gary's fondue sets one day.
Yeah, we each get one.
Yeah, I had a side story. When I was younger, we used to go on holidays every year down to a place called Pambula Beach, and Pambula Beach is just near Bega, and Bega is where Bega cheese comes from.
Yeah.
And one of the adventures every year when we went on holidays was to go to the Bega cheese factory, and that was back in the 1960s, 1970s. So it was a lot smaller cheese factory than I think it is today, and I think the production may have changed slightly, but the cheese was fantastic. I wasn't so keen on the smell of the cheese factory. I remember that Bega cheese, I always have really fond childhood memories of Bega cheese, and it's the one that I buy at home.
Gary, what you say about Bega too is great, because Bega is also our last biggest Australian-owned dairy, and they've bought a lot of Australian dairy farmers and that recently. They've also bought Vegemite and really have worked buying Australian brands now, which is really good to see.
Yeah. It's actually quite nice to see that they've got their Bega peanut butter is beautiful. Yeah. And it goes really nicely with cheddar cheese.
Actually, cheddar and peanut butter is a perfect combination, yes.
It is. Yep. Yes.
So cheddar and apples, cheddar in a fondue, cheddar melted on your cheese sandwich in the morning. It's good one. Cheddar's a really versatile cheese. In an apple crumble, on an apple pie thing is very nice too, cheddar. We were talking about adding it to a fruit cake before. I'm slightly now aware of the time that we've only got a short amount of time to talk about the blue cheese.
I was just going to be like, I am not going to interrupt this, but yeah, we've got 10 minutes left, guys, and I'm waiting to get to the blue.
Well, we feel like we're New South Wales supporters or something, saying, go the Blues, the Blues.
Not that I haven't already started eating mine, I might add.
That's the way. Don't hold back. So for lack of being able to get any other cheese from my local IGA, I just got the blue Castello. A lot of people eat this cheese. This is very popular on the Australian market, and I'm about to have my first taste of it Oh, there you go. You got something in the traditional wrap. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I think Nessa's got a King Island represent Tassie's. It's got a really strong aroma, doesn't it, the Castello?
It certainly does.
Try.
The King Island one has a really strong smell as well, but it is just a beautiful cheese.
Sorry, everyone that likes blue Castello, but that's not my cheese. I'm gonna eat some of I'm gonna eat something sweet. Oh,
Gary, a perfect combination on blue cheese is your truffle honey at the moment. You got some truffle honey there. Just hold it up.
Do you know what I love blue cheese with? Figs.
Yeah, figs.
Blue cheese is excellent.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Penny's still cleansing her palate. Actually, Penny, you can use charcoal
Biscuits
crackers.
too.
They definitely cleanse your palate. That's what I like to use.
I'm very fortunate to have some of Sue from Singing Magpies dried Smyrna quince.
I love her products.
So good. What have you got there, Ness?
I've got the truffle honey as well.
Oh, you got it too. Yep.
Excellent. That almost feels like you'd be fighting fire with fire in that matching combination. But something sweet is definitely helpful. Maybe a spoonful of honey.
I've got a candied fig.
You do. That looks pretty good. So blue cheese. What do we know about them? The milk
And
in the
clementine.
Oh, and a clementine. Beautiful. Where'd you get that from, Gary?
Oh, there's a place. Just let me check the label. I can't quite read it.
Penny's Cheese Shop, I think. Oh, there you go.
Oh, is it Penny's Cheese Shop? That's not far from
Exactly where is Penny's Cheese Shop again?
So it's 4 Roslyn Street in Potts Point. Come and visit or follow on Instagram or Facebook, either one. You'll see me doing some cheesy adventures. So onto blue cheese.
That's not far from Jamie's kitchen either.
Down the road. We're neighbours. But seriously, getting back to the blue cheese. So blue cheeses tend to be strong and salty, and the milk is inoculated in the vat with the blue mold spores. Generally speaking, it's Penicillium roqueforti, as in the Roquefort cheese. It can also be glaucum as well. And contrary to some beliefs, it's not put in there with copper wires. The blue mold is actually what is the colour. It needs oxygen to grow, and so in most production of blue cheeses, when the cheeses reach a certain age, the cheeses themselves are pierced, creating air holes through the paste of the cheese, and that's allowing space for the blue mold spores to actually bloom. And then you're getting those distinctive blue veins sometimes, or in some cases of other cheeses, they're like parsley leaves looking through the paste. So the French call that persilla. And
they do.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I guess they're very savoury in flavour, blue cheeses. They can be towards spicy, and if you have a cheese that you don't much like I've just had, adding something sweet will offset it. If you're new to blue, a really good way to begin is to have some quince paste or fig paste or one of those confiture kind of products. Honey is excellent foil. I think we've said it a few times throughout the tasting. But the good thing with menu applications with blue cheese is that a little goes a long way. Like, it's got such a punchy flavour. You don't need to add the quantity that you would with bocconcini for a menu item. You could be just adding a little bit as a seasoner. A quick story, I had someone come in and buy 25 grams of Roquefort from me the other day, and I was like, 25 grams, are you crazy? But it was for an Ottolenghi recipe for a baba ganoush, and it was to add 25 grams of the Roquefort to add the seasoning. I'd recommend not going to a cheesemonger and asking for 25 grams of cheese. 50 is about right. 25 seems like, ooh. But anyway, we're happy to order. So Adam mentioned before, blue cheese on a hamburger. Blue cheese on a beautiful barbecued steak is excellent.
Yes, the umami notes is just amazing with blue cheese and meat. That's why it's on like blue cheese sauce on chicken wings and that as well. That nice umami factor.
Yeah.
It actually amazes me. I can't imagine somebody going into a cheese shop and just walking out with 25 grams of blue cheese. At
the time, I'm happy to do it though, because on the other side of it, part of the reason why I like being a cheesemonger is I don't like waste. And so it's like, you cut cheese for people that they know how much they're wanting, and you know that they're going to consume it, and you don't have random bits of cheese at the back of your fridge. So, I mean, it's the smallest quantity I've ever been asked for. At the same time, I still did it because I appreciate that he just wanted to use it for one recipe. Not all cheesemongers will do it, but I'm a bit of a pushover.
Oh gosh.
And if you wanted to really,
I don't think Adam and I walk out of a cheese shop for less than $200.
Vanessa and I will go, let's get this. And yeah.
The first time I went to Penny's shop, I came home with maybe 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 8 different cheeses, all varying sizes and shapes and whatnot, and came home and unwrapped them and put them on the counter. And I thought, what was that one again? What was that? I think I'd finished 2 of them before I'd put the others away, and that was just what we had for dinner that night. It was amazing. The selection, the variety, and also when you go into Penny's shop, talk to Penny and her staff about what you're looking for and what you want, what you like. And the first question they ask you is, well, what are you looking for in the cheese? You know, like that's what I liked about your shop, Penny, and you're not going to sell like a blue cheese to somebody that's not really into blue, that's way over the top. And, you know, you're going to stick to one of the softer ones, you know, the Shadows of Blue or something like that, which is the introduction cheese for a lot of people into blue. And once they've tried that and build up their palate for it, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
We're always like, what are you using it for? How many people? And, you know, what do you like or you don't like? And it's, you know, these are 3 key questions, I think, that you can talk, because I think people are a little bit unsure of coming into a specialty cheese shop and knowing the language to use. And you just have to start the conversation. I'm cooking this recipe. It's for how many people, that kind of thing. And we'll go from there. We love talking about cheese. Cheesemongers is one of the things that we absolutely love, is passing on the information and helping you. It's like speed dating for cheese. You're trying to match the person with the right cheese. And that's what we do. And it's fun.
And it was funny. Last time I went visit your store, I got out of the store and I rang Gary and I said, Gary, I just went to Penny's cheese shop. He goes, where is it? And I said, it's just around the corner from you. And then he rushed off up there and he got cheese as well. I'm like, yeah, that's the best way to do
it. Yeah. No, it's amazing.
Talk to me about books. If people want to know, and we're actually going to have to do another one of these because I just feel like we've only just scratched the surface today. But in terms of books, if somebody was wanting to buy a good book on cheese, what can you recommend?
So I think Juliet Harbert is a good place to. Well, cheese book. It's got like good information about a whole variety of cheeses from Australia and New Zealand over to, you know, Greece and France and England, and
a
little bit of history of things and some how they're made. And Adam's got one there. Yeah,
well stud, Australian cheese expert.
You've got 2 minutes, my friend.
Hang on. I got another one there. There's Chalk and Cheese. It's a bit of a rarer book, but by Will Stud. There's lots of books on cheese, as Penny's probably got there. You've got actually another one, don't you, Penny?
I do. What have I got? I got an Australian classic. You'll be able to pick this one. Anyone can pick this up from an op shop anywhere around Australia, I'm pretty certain. It's a historical document. Some of the cheesemakers are no longer around. And then we've got more and more coming and producing amazing Australian cheeses now. So I'd like to, you know, maybe write another one that's more current, but that's a cracker. There's some great recipes.
Good recipes, yes.
Yeah. That's fantastic and amazing to have you guys on our session for cheeses. It's the knowledge and experience that you bring to the table is fantastic. And I think, Vanessa, you're right. We will need to do another one of these, and I think maybe take it up a notch and try some, some experience, some different things. Take the bull by the horns, as they say, or the cow by the tail, or the cow by the udder, and some cheeses, and the sheep's milk cheeses and the goat's milk cheeses. I think, we've had some of those today, but I think that would be great.
There's even some camel milk cheeses out there too, Gary.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, really? We're actually going to definitely have to have another one of these sessions. And just to remind everybody to send a photo once we've published this session, which will be like 5 minutes after we've finished, and post your photo. If you can't, send it through on the messenger, and we will choose out the best cheese board and send out a $50 voucher, plus some jars of the Conjure Up Food Confiture lemon jam.
And
Perfect for any cheese
when will
board.
the close-off date be for that, Vanessa?
How about we give them to maybe the weekend, do you think?
Yeah.
So we'll give everybody until next Monday.
Yep. Perfect.
That way, because with Father's Day, you might want to be a little bit fancy pantsy with the cheese board. So,
Well, Vanessa, there's 2 important days. This Saturday is also International Bacon Day, paired with cheese. It's amazing. Or you could do Father's Day.
or you could celebrate Adam's birthday tomorrow and create a cheese board.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Penny, quick one.
Yeah.
What do I do with all this cheese here left at home? Do I start eating it now?
I think either, or you could make the best macaroni and cheese of your life.
I'm going to make macaroni and cheese. Dedicated to Penny now.
4 cheese sauces. 4 cheese sauces.
I even splashed out and bought some of Julianne's Kitchen's pate. Well, not splashed out. I always buy it. I just love it. I've got my almond and fig biscuits. I'm like, I'm going to have a party here on my own.
Dinner sorted.
Dinner sorted. Hashtag
Right,
dinner
guys.
sorted.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
It's been an
everybody.
hour. It's just rushed through, and but let's definitely do this again. I've loved it. I hope everyone else that's been online's enjoyed it as well. And thank you very much for joining in today. It's been great.
Thank you,
Thank
Penny.
you.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Bye. Bye.